Hello, good morning. This is Tom from Healthy Lifestyle. Today we're going to talk about olive oil. We're going to talk about tomatoes. And so we're going to get right into it. YouTube says that's the new thing now. Just get right into it. So experts believe that olive oil is good for you and tomatoes too. So what do you guys think? I think olive oil is really a good thing. I think omega-3 is really good. I think just about honestly, a lot of the foods we eat are probably good for us. We just eat too much of a certain kind or something. Olive oil is rich and healthy in monosaturated fats, and of course, it's extracted from olives. It's the fruit of the olive tree. I take about 1 to 2 tablespoons a day, sometimes a little bit more, and I also take it with fish oil, and it makes me feel better. And of course, studies show that it reduces inflammation, and that's the reason why I started taking it. My doctor got me on it a long time ago. He said to start taking it, and I think he said you'll just feel a lot better. And it contains large amounts of antioxidants, and especially extra virgin. I only get the extra virgin. I'm not really quite sure the other properties on the other olive oils. I'm sure any olive oil is good for you. I know that a lot of people have a problem taking it. I take it by teaspoon, 1 to 2, 3 teaspoons a night before I go to bed, with some fish oil, 1 or 2 tablets of fish oil, depending what brand it is and how much power it has in it. Uh, I'm really into, and I've always have been, helping the blood flow and cholesterol, and those two things really helps a lot. And it also helps. It's not going to help you in weight loss, but it helps you give you that fuller feeling. And it leads. It actually has, and they've done studies on this. I got this information from Harvard. It actually stops such diseases as cancer. In other words, it helps protect you against type 2 diabetes. Alzheimer's, that's what I'm afraid that I'm heading down that path. I hope and pray that I'm not, but I seem to be forgetting a lot of things at a lot of times. And so that's the reason sometimes I may repeat myself. I don't know what's going on there. I think all of us do it to a certain extent when we get old, but I'm not that old. So they say that just even if you just take 1 to 2, 3 teaspoons a day can really help make your life a lot easier and give you a sense of fullness, help you feel better. It fights the inflammation, and it has oleic acid, which is really good for you, and it helps prevent the strokes. So me personally, I love olive oil, always have. People in the Mediterranean have been having it for years. People in Italy have been having it for years, and they live a long life, and that's really what I kind of want to do myself. Another topic in the same area is there's nothing better if you have olive oil is put it on tomatoes, and with just a little bit of salt and pepper, and maybe the cheese that you like. I love that dish. I would often order it at Olive Garden there in U.S. They were a customer of mine. They were at that particular time they owned Red Lobster, Olive Garden at that time, and they were part of the General Mills team. So it's really lycopene is really good for you. It's an antioxidant also. The more lycopene, the redder the fruit. So the key is of course you leave it longer, it's going to get redder. Put it in a paper bag, it's going to get better. Here we tend to not maybe have the type of tomatoes we're used to. They have what they call hard-skinned tomatoes here in the Philippines, and it may or may not be. It's hard-skinned. It's just all there is to it. You take a knife and you're going to go like this, and it's not going to cut it. It takes a really sharp knife to cut it, and it's there to protect the skin, to protect from all the pests, because there's so many pests around here. It ripens. The lycopene ripens the tomatoes. The more riper the tomato is, it has more lycopene in it. Lycopene is good for you. It gives you, and it helps fight cancer fighting also. Excuse me. However, everyone absorbs the same lycopene at the same rate. So the more tomatoes you eat, just as long as you have some, you don't have to have a bunch of those because it's going to give you a lot of acid in your system. So it's like anything else. Eat it in moderation. My father was allergic to tomatoes. He could not eat very many of them. It does give you, it has an acidic taste to it, but it helps against the heart attacks and strokes. And as you know, that's the leading cause of death, that in U.S. because of stress, cancer also. So they looked at blood levels and they found that people have high lycopene with eating tomatoes and the pastas and things like that live a little bit longer. And the study they did in Harvard is less likely to die at early age unless they're obese or things like that. But I know that tomatoes is really good. That Ruth and I always try to find them if we can find them. But we eat what we can have, what we can find. So a study in women shows that a high concentration of tomatoes may protect against breast cancer. And so tomatoes considered very beneficial, and it's actually great for your skin. So I wanted to talk about tomatoes and olive oil today. You never know what Tom's going to talk about. So I would say eat your tomatoes, eat your olive oil, have your olive oil, and we buy a quart a week. And Ruth just now started taking it. Back about 3 years ago, she says, I'm not taking it. There's no way in the world I'm going to start taking it. And I said, why? It's good for you. No, it's not. Olive oil. So she started listening to me and listening what's going on, doing research herself, and come to find out, she says, hey, my Dr. Oz, it's Og or something here, Chinese guy, says it's good for you to have it every, uh, bell, 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 ding, 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 ding. So she's taking it now with me, started yesterday. And she's been taking a little long when I forced her to take it, but she's always take fish oil, and it's something that we always really try to do. So tomato products reduce the risk of heart cancer and several cancers. It's great for skin health, and it actually protects you against sunburns, believe it or not. So they actually, when I worked in the industry of the produce industry, I had to do that too because I worked for a retailer. You own a produce house. And so it's a process going up the stepping stone to become a store manager. You had to know how everything worked. I had to work in the meat department, the produce department, the deli department, bakery department. Every department you had to work. I'm at 4 a.m. flipping donuts, okay? I'm making donuts. But I have to tell you, that was a smart man. He became very, very rich by teaching other people how to do things. And one thing he said is, you're going to learn how to ripen bananas, and you're going to learn how to ripen tomatoes. So ethylene gas, they would put the tomatoes in one room, and they'd shoot ethylene in there. And the ethylene gas would stop the ripening process on tomatoes. The same thing on bananas. It Depending on how much ethylene, it's a certain amount of ethylene gas goes in there, and it keeps the bananas ripening. For example, the bananas would come in, let's say coming off the truck, and we'd get 10 pallets of bananas to go through in 2 days. The bananas themselves were ripened to the point, then they stopped the ethanol process, pulled them out, put them on the truck, and then put them on the store shelves. And they would ripen. A lot of times you see them green, but they'd ripen fast. And so they'd be ripened by the time you get to the house, really. I mean, that's what they do. Because it's shipped in from Hawaii, Brazil is where we get ours there in the U.S. Here, of course, they grow their own. But believe it or not, they get a lot of bananas from Thailand. Even though there's hundreds and thousands and millions of hectares of bananas here, they get a lot of bananas from Thailand. I never even thought that. Same thing with the rice and everything else. So, but here, banana is good for you also, eat banana. But, it's like anything else, moderation, even an apple's good for you. But it depends what type of apples also. So commercially grown tomatoes are transported when they're green. And before they sell them in the stores, they put them in a big cooler about the size of a Walmart, for an example. A big Walmart, a big S&R, for an example. The cooler's full of bananas. And as it's a cooler. And temperature's regulated the whole 9 yards, 24/7. Diesel backup so they don't lose millions of dollars of bananas. When that's brought in, then they take that and they gas it. And then when I would drive the forklift to unload them, in my younger years, I would load them on a truck and load 10, 15 pallets, go directly to this store, this store, this store, this store. And that was my job. was regulate the gas, make sure the tomatoes didn't ripen too fast, and you had to rotate them. And I've lost a few tons of tomatoes one time. Almost lost my job because I did not rotate it properly, and it cost them probably $100,000 in money that they lost in just tomatoes alone. So I learned my big lesson. I said, "Can I go to another department? We'll put you in bananas. That's even worse. No, I don't want any department. How about you just put me loading trucks? No, no. Why would we do that? Well, you can get, Joe, you need to learn the business." So that's why I learned the business and the retail business. Not only that, they take me to the warehouse, and I worked actually in super value at that Wetterall at the time. Worked in the warehouse to understand how they slot and pick the items. Well, Walmart came in effect. Walmart was available and did the same thing to their managers. God bless everybody. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening to me ramble on for the 11 minutes. I'll see you guys next time. Okay, so okay, this is what I do. This is 11 minutes, 14 seconds.